looks like I'm going to be out tomorrow, so have another quick, if slightly self-indulgent video to make up for the fact I won't be doing one tomorrow.
Oi! You lucky people!
Every so often, I like to revisit the shit that's happened since about 2010 in relation to me and in relation to the culture in general. And a couple of things have made me think about this again now. On the one hand, there's the fuss that's been made over the French Conan board game. Attempting to whip up the same old social justice, social media frenzy again to deal with that in some way. And then obviously in the aftermath of the Trumpocalypse, there's been a lot of political arguments and so on Facebook and Twitter and elsewhere. And that leads to some weird situations. I've run into people I haven't really run into for a couple of years from the game industry and so on. And their reactions and their ideas about me are very peculiar. You know, I am on the left, but they have this idea somehow that I'm on the right. Whereas if they've paid enough attention to think that about me, they should have noticed that that's not true about me. And one guy in particular said, "Oh, you just think of yourself as the Bete Noire of the gaming scene." That isn't how I see myself. I see myself as a guy who just wants to be left the fuck alone to make games that he wants to, and believes that everyone else should be left the fuck alone to make the games that they want to. But people like that won't let us. I don't think he meant Bete Noire in the sense that it's actually meant, in that someone that people have an unreasonable animosity towards because I fit that label to a T. I think he meant it in the kind of self-aggrandizing, edgy game designer way, which again isn't how I see myself. I'm just interested in things that people find controversial. And I make games about things that people find controversial. But I don't know what my sins are. I still don't really know what my sins actually are. You know, when I go back and I examine everything I've done, everything I've said, well... And I had a litany of the usual long debunked bullshit thrown at me. Oh, you're a rape apologist. No. I wrote an article defending people's free expression to speak and to write about horrible things such as rape, such as murder, such as torture, whatever. That's not the same as saying rape is hunky-dory, it's fine, everyone should do it. Yeah, clip that out of context and use it if you will. Or that I unleashed some kind of horde of people upon some female game designer or something. No, I've criticised people. It's funny how this behaviour is okay on one side, they call it call-out culture, but when you bring it to bear on someone else who's fucked up for some reason, that's not okay. Not that I've done such a thing. Maybe I've pointed out stupid behaviour on people's part, bad actions and so on. I don't think that's the same as unleashing a horde of cyberbullies or whatever. If it is, then a hell of a lot more people than me are in trouble, and most of them aren't people who share my views. Most of them are the kinds of people that I disagree with. The usual misogyny or objectification, well, I don't believe in objectification, and I don't hate women, so that's that out the window. One of them's a subjective judgment on your part, and the other one just flat isn't true because they don't meet the definition. So what are you supposed to do in these instances? What the problem actually seems to be is that I disagree with their orthodoxy and I argue back. And I like to argue. I argue a lot. I'll argue about anything. I have opinions on lots of things, but you should be able to argue with someone without it being the end of the fucking world, without petitions being drawn up to get you fired, without getting yourself on blacklists and things just for disagreeing with a singular political orthodoxy. I'll work with anyone. I'd work with Vard Vikernes if I thought he was any good. You know, it's politics can stay at the door. But the thing is, in that particular instance, those kind of racist ideas are actually something that might be interesting to play with in game terms, and there's something that is played with in game terms. Consider D&D. where there are races that have particular alignments. That's playing with racist ideas, isn't it? I was rather patronisingly told that my position isn't irrecoverable. What do you want from me? What am I supposed to be sorry for? Standing up for free expression, arguing with people, holding a different political point of view. Arguing with someone is not the same as censoring someone, which I've had to put up with, or trying to push your point of view on people with your work, which is not something I've particularly tried to do. At least not in a propagandized fashion. You can't help but have your views affect your work. Yeah, and all of this being done to me has created my interest in these topics, which is then reflected in my work. So gaze upon the monster you created, some twat in a cowboy hat on YouTube, opining on games. How terrible. Mercy, mercy me. Yeah, what do you want? Some sort of show trial apology? Yes, I was a terrible misogynist. Not really. And I completely objectified women. Not really, it's not a thing. And I'm so terribly sorry that I criticised women. Isn't that a bit sexist to treat them differently? Yeah, I'm not going to apologise for shit I either haven't done or I'm not sorry for, and ain't fucking happening. And I'm gonna continue to argue for free speech. I'm gonna continue to argue against censorship. None of this is bad. You know, we can disagree with it. I can disagree with you and have it not mean that I necessarily hate you or don't want to work with you. I've reached out my hand to people like Sarah Dark Magic and others on that extreme sock-just end of the indie game scene before, only to have it slapped away. I'll work with anyone if I think their work's good. That's provided they work with me. That's about my limitation. That's my blacklist. Someone tried to seriously claim that I held a blacklist because I, would only work with people who I liked and who were willing to work with me. I don't think you understand what the term means, mate. So what is there to do moving forward? I don't know. Things are difficult. I don't know how much of that is to do with this hatred and blacklisting. I don't know how much of it is to do with less disposable income or what the people have. I'm just going to keep working away on things that interest me. If you don't want me to write about things that upset you, don't bring them into my field of view and don't make them so interesting to me to try and work out. I don't know. Like I said, self-indulgent, tripe. But see, the thing is, you shifted your point of view. You became much more intolerant. You became censorious and authoritarian. And me?
I haven't changed.
So I guess next time you check your blacklist, let's see my name on it. Or you decide you don't want your name to appear alongside mine on a book. Or you don't want to work with me. Or you don't want to work with a company with which I am associated. And none of this is hyperbole. Ask yourself for a minute, am I being a twat? What has he actually done? Have I talked to him about what he believes, why he argues on these cases? Have a rethink. Because I'm fucking tired of it. I'm tired of being called things I'm not. It's been years now. Alright? I can back up everything I believe, everything I argue, but it has fuck all to do with who I'm willing to work with. Come on, let's work together. Zang.